Sarah Martinez stood outside the tall glass doors of Elegance Boutique. Her heart was beating fast. She had been walking past this store for 3 years, always looking at the beautiful window displays but never going inside. Today was different. Today she had money in her purse. Real money that she had saved for 6 months. She wore her favorite jeans and a simple gray sweater. Her shoes were old but clean. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail because she had come straight from her morning shift. Sarah worked as a janitor at a big office building downtown. She worked at night cleaning floors and emptying trash cans. It was hard work, but it paid the bills. Sarah took a deep breath and pushed open the heavy door. A small bell rang above her head. The store was beautiful inside. Everything was white and gold. Soft music played from hidden speakers. The floor was so shiny she could see her reflection in it. Glass cases held handbags and jewelry that sparkled under bright lights. 2 young women stood behind a counter. They wore black dresses and had perfect makeup. They looked up when Sarah entered. One woman whispered something to the other. They both looked at Sarah from head to toe. Then they smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Sarah felt her face get hot. She knew what that look meant. She had seen it before, but she pushed the feeling away. She had every right to be here. She had money. She could buy something if she wanted to. She walked slowly around the store. Everything was so expensive. She saw a price tag on a scarf. It cost $500. Sarah's mouth fell open. $500 for a scarf. She made that much money in 2 weeks of work. But she was not here for a scarf. She was here for her daughter. Emma was graduating from law school next month. Emma had worked so hard. She had studied every night. She had gotten scholarships and worked part-time jobs. Sarah was so proud of her. She wanted to buy Emma something special, something that would show her how proud she was. Sarah saw a display case with handbags. One bag was smaller than the others. It was a soft blue color like the sky. Emma's favorite color was blue. Sarah walked closer to look at it. "Can I help you?" A cold voice came from behind her. Sarah turned around. A tall woman stood there. She had dark hair pulled back tight. She wore a gray suit that probably cost more than Sarah's rent. Her name tag said Victoria Chen, store manager. "Yes, please," Sarah said, trying to smile. "I would like to see that blue bag in the case." Victoria's eyes moved down to Sarah's shoes, then back up to her face. "That bag is $12,000, she said slowly, like she was talking to a child. Sarah's stomach dropped. $12,000? That was more than she had saved. Much more. She felt embarrassed, but she tried not to show it. "Oh," Sarah said. "Do you have anything less expensive? Maybe something for around $2,000? Victoria crossed her arms. "Ma'am, I don't think you understand the kind of store this is. We sell luxury items, high-end designer pieces. Our cheapest handbag is $4,000. Other customers in the store were starting to look. Sarah felt their eyes on her. Her face burned with shame. "I have money," Sarah said quietly. She opened her purse to show the envelope inside. "I have been saving for 6 months. I want to buy a gift for my daughter." Victoria did not even look at the purse. "Ma'am, perhaps you would be more comfortable shopping somewhere else. There is a department store 3 blocks down the street. They have nice bags at more reasonable prices." Sarah's hand started to shake. "But I want to buy something here. I have been looking at your store for years. I finally saved enough money and I want to buy something special." Victoria's face got hard. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We don't appreciate window shoppers coming in and wasting our time. Our staff needs to help serious customers." "But I am a serious customer." Sarah's voice got louder. She could not believe this was happening. "I have money. I work hard for my money." "Security," Victoria called out loudly. "We have a situation here." A large man in a uniform walked over quickly. He looked uncomfortable, like he did not want to be doing this. "Please escort this woman out of the store," Victoria said. She said it loudly enough that everyone in the store could hear. Sarah felt tears start to fill her eyes. "This is not right," she whispered. "I did nothing wrong. I just wanted to buy a gift for my daughter. Some people just don't belong in places like this," Victoria said to the security guard, still speaking loudly. "Some people need to learn to know their place." The security guard touched Sarah's elbow gently. "Ma'am, please come with me," he said quietly.
He sounded sorry. Sarah let him lead her to the door.
She could not fight anymore. She felt small and worthless. As they walked past the other customers, Sarah heard Victoria talking to her staff. "Can you believe that? She probably saw our bags on some website and thought she could just walk in here. These people have no idea how the real world works. They see rich people with nice things and think they can have them too. The staff members laughed. Sarah heard every word. The security guard opened the door. "I'm sorry," he whispered to Sarah. "I don't agree with this." "But it's my job," Sarah nodded. She could not speak. If she tried to talk, she would start crying. She stepped out onto the sidewalk. The door closed behind her with a soft click. The beautiful store was on the other side of the glass now. Sarah stood there for a moment, looking at her reflection in the window. She looked so small and plain next to all that luxury. People walked past her on the busy street. Nobody stopped. Nobody asked if she was okay. She was invisible to them, just like she was invisible to the people in the store. Sarah walked to a bench and sat down. Then the tears came. They ran down her face and she could not stop them. She had worked so hard. She had saved every extra dollar. She had skipped lunches and walked to work instead of taking the bus. All so she could buy her daughter something special, but it did not matter. None of it mattered. Because people like Victoria Chen looked at her and only saw a janitor in old clothes. They did not see a mother who loved her daughter. They did not see a woman who worked 2 jobs to put her child through school. They did not see a human being who deserved respect. Sarah sat on that bench for a long time. She watched people go in and out of the boutique. They all looked like they belonged there. They all looked rich and important, and Sarah made a decision. She was not sure what she was going to do yet, but something inside her changed in that moment. She was done being invisible. She was done being treated like she did not matter. She pulled out her phone. Her hands were still shaking, but she knew what she needed to do. She needed to call Emma. Her daughter would know what to do. Emma always knew what to do. Sarah wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. This was not over. Not by a long way. Sarah's fingers shook as she pressed the buttons on her phone. She wiped her eyes with her sleeve, trying to stop crying. People walked past her on the sidewalk, but nobody stopped to ask if she was okay. She was just another invisible person in the big city. The phone rang 3 times. Then she heard her daughter's voice. "Mom? Is everything okay? You don't usually call me during the day." Emma sounded worried. Sarah tried to speak, but no words came out. Just a sob. "Mom? Mom, what happened? Are you hurt?" Emma's voice got higher with panic. "I'm okay," Sarah finally managed to say. "I'm not hurt, not like that. Where are you? What's wrong?" Sarah told her everything. She told her about saving money for 6 months, about the boutique, about Victoria Chen and her cold eyes, about being called a window shopper, about the security guard leading her out while everyone watched, about Victoria saying that some people don't belong in places like that. When Sarah finished talking, there was silence on the phone. She could hear Emma breathing hard. "That store is called Elegance on 5th Avenue. Emma's voice was quiet, but Sarah could hear something in it. Anger. Cold, hard anger. "Yes," Sarah said. "But Emma, forget about it. I should not have gone there. I should have known better." "Known better? Mom, what are you saying? You had money. You had every right to shop there. They had no right to treat you that way." "But look at me, Emma. I was wearing old jeans and a sweater. I looked like a janitor because that's what I am." "Stop it." Emma's voice was loud now. "Stop saying that. You are not just a janitor. You are my mother. You are the woman who raised me alone. You are the woman who worked 3 jobs so I could go to college. You are the woman who never gave up no matter how hard things got. Don't let those terrible people make you feel small." Sarah started crying again, but this time it was different. She was crying because her daughter's words made her remember who she was. She had forgotten for a moment, standing in that fancy store. "Mom, listen to me. I need to ask you something important. Do you remember Daniel Chen?" Sarah thought for a moment. "You mean the man who owns the building where I work? The one with the big office on the top floor?" "Yes, the CEO. Mom, do you remember him?" "Well, I see him sometimes when I'm cleaning. He works very late. Sometimes he's there until midnight." "Why?" Emma took a deep breath. "Mom, do you remember leaving notes for him?" Sarah felt confused. "Notes? Oh, You mean those little papers I would leave on his desk sometimes? Yes. What did those notes say? Sarah felt embarrassed now. Just silly things. I would see him looking so tired and stressed. His trash can would be full of coffee cups, papers everywhere. He looked so sad sometimes. So I would leave little notes. Things like, don't forget to go home and rest, or tomorrow will be better, or you're doing a great job, don't give up. I know it was silly. He probably never even read them. Emma's voice got soft. Mom, he read them. He read every single one. Last year, when I started working at my law firm, we had a meeting with his company. He saw my last name on my business card. Martinez. He asked if I was related to Sarah Martinez, the woman who cleaned his building. Sarah's heart started beating faster. What did you say? I said, yes, you're my mom. And Mom, he told me something. He said that 5 years ago, his company almost failed. He was going through a divorce. He was working 20 hours a day. He was so stressed that he thought about giving up, selling the company and walking away from everything. Sarah listened, not understanding where this was going. He said your notes kept him going. Every night he would find a new note from you. He didn't know who was leaving them at first, but they made him feel like someone cared, like someone noticed him. He said those notes saved his life. Sarah could not believe what she was hearing. But they were just little notes, nothing special. They were special to him, Mom. After he found out you were my mother, he gave me his private phone number. He made me promise that if you ever needed anything at all, I would call him. He said he owed you more than he could ever repay. Sarah's mind was spinning. She had never thought those notes meant anything. She just felt bad for the man who worked so late every night. Emma, why are you telling me this now? Because I'm going to call him, and I'm going to tell him what happened to you today. No, Sarah said quickly. Emma, please don't. I don't want charity. I don't want anyone feeling sorry for me. This isn't charity, Mom, and it's not about feeling sorry for you. It's about making things right. Will you let me call him? Please? Sarah wanted to say no. She wanted to forget this whole terrible day. But something in Emma's voice made her stop. Her daughter sounded so sure, so confident. Okay, Sarah finally said. You can call him. Good. Stay where you are, Mom. I'm going to call him right now. I'll call you back in a few minutes. Emma hung up. Sarah sat on the bench holding her phone. She felt numb. The day had been so strange, so terrible. And now this. She looked at the boutique across the street. Through the glass windows, she could see Victoria Chen talking to customers, smiling her fake smile, selling her expensive bags to people who looked like they belonged there. Sarah's phone rang. She jumped, almost dropping it. Mom, it's me. Daniel Chen wants to talk to you. I'm going to connect you to his line right now, okay? Emma, wait, I don't know what to say to him. But Emma had already connected the call. Sarah heard a click and then a man's voice. Sarah? This is Daniel Chen. I am so sorry about what happened to you today. His voice was kind, gentle. Not at all what Sarah expected from a rich CEO. Mr. Chen, you don't need to. Emma shouldn't have bothered you with this. Please call me Daniel. And Emma did not bother me. She did exactly what I asked her to do. Sarah, I need to tell you something. Sarah waited, her heart pounding. Do you remember the stock options I offered to all my employees 2 years ago, including the cleaning staff? Sarah did remember, sort of. She had signed some papers that she did not really understand. Yes, I remember signing something, but I thought those were just, regular papers. They were stock options, Sarah. Shares in my company. When the company does well, those shares become worth money. Do you understand? I think so, Sarah said slowly. Last year, my company went public. That means we started selling shares on the stock market. The company did very well. Very, very well. Sarah did not understand what this had to do with her. That's wonderful, Mr. Chen. Daniel, I'm happy for you. Sarah, those stock options you signed for, they're worth money now. A lot of money. How much money? Sarah asked. Her voice was very quiet. There was a pause. Then Daniel said, $2.3 million. Sarah's phone slipped from her hand. It fell on the bench next to her. She could hear Daniel's voice still talking, but it sounded far away. Her ears were ringing. Her whole body felt cold. $2.3 million. That could not be right. That was impossible. She picked up the phone with shaking hands. I'm sorry, I dropped the phone. Did you say $2 million? $2.3 million, Sarah. You're a millionaire. The papers will take a few weeks to process, but the money is yours. You earned it. Sarah could not breathe. She could not think. This was not real. Things like this did not happen to people like her. I don't understand, she whispered. Why would you give me so much money? I didn't give it to you, Sarah. You earned it. You were loyal to my company for 15 years. You worked hard, you never missed a day. And more than that, you were kind to me when I needed kindness. Those notes you left saved me. Now it's my turn to help you. Sarah was crying again, but these were different tears. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, but Sarah, I want to ask you about this boutique, about what happened today. Emma told me the name of the store. My wife shops there sometimes. If they are treating customers this way, I want to know more about it. Why? Sarah asked. Because if they are discriminating against people based on how they look, that's not just rude. It's wrong, and I want to look into it. Would that be okay with you? Sarah thought about Victoria Chen's face, about her cold voice, about being led out by security while everyone watched. Yes, Sarah said. Her voice was stronger now. Yes, I would like that very much. Good. I'm going to make some calls. Sarah, this is not over. Not by a long way. I promise you that. After they hung up, Sarah sat on the bench for a long time. The sun was starting to set. The sky was turning orange and pink. She looked at the boutique again. $2.3 million. She was a millionaire. She could buy that whole store if she wanted to. Sarah smiled. It was a small smile at first, but it grew. For the first time all day, she felt hope, more than hope. She felt powerful. Things were about to change, and Victoria Chen had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Sarah woke up early. For a moment, she thought yesterday had been a dream. The boutique, the humiliation, the phone call with Daniel Chen, $2.3 million. It all seemed impossible. But her phone was on the nightstand next to her bed. When she picked it up, she saw 3 missed calls from Emma and 2 text messages from a number she did not recognize. The first text said, "This is Daniel Chen. I hope you slept well. We have a meeting today at 10 o'clock if you are available. I have some information to share with you." The second text had an address, a fancy office building downtown. Sarah sat up in bed. Her hands were shaking again, but this time it was not from sadness. It was excitement, and fear and hope, all mixed together. She got up and looked in her closet. All her clothes were simple and old, jeans, t-shirts, a few sweaters. One dress that she wore to church sometimes. Nothing fancy. Nothing that looked like it belonged in a rich person's office. Then she stopped herself. No, she was done feeling ashamed of her clothes. These were good clothes.
Clean clothes?
They were good enough. She chose her best jeans and a nice blue sweater. She brushed her hair and let it hang down around her shoulders instead of pulling it back. She put on a little makeup. When she looked in the mirror, she looked like herself. That was enough. Emma called her at 8 o'clock. "Mom, did you see Daniel's text? Are you going to meet him?" "I think so." "I'm nervous, Emma. I don't know what to expect." "Do you want me to come with you?" Emma asked. Sarah thought about it. Part of her wanted to say yes. Emma would know what to say. Emma was smart and confident, but another part of her knew this was something she needed to do alone. "No, sweetheart. I need to do this by myself. But thank you for offering." "Okay, Mom, but call me after, okay? I want to hear everything." At 9:30, Sarah took the bus downtown. She got off 3 blocks from the office building and walked the rest of the way. She wanted time to think, time to prepare herself. The building was tall and made of glass. She could see her reflection in the windows as she walked up to the entrance. She looked small compared to the big building, but she did not feel small anymore. Inside, the lobby was beautiful. Marble floors, high ceilings, A big desk where a young man sat wearing a suit. "Can I help you?" he asked with a smile. A real smile, not like the ones at the boutique. "I'm here to see Daniel Chen. My name is Sarah Martinez." The young man looked at his computer. "Yes, Ms. Martinez, he's expecting you."
Take the elevator to the top floor.
"Someone will meet you there." Sarah rode the elevator up. Her stomach felt funny as the elevator rose higher and higher. When the doors opened, a woman was waiting for her. "Ms. Martinez? I'm Jennifer, Mr. Chen's assistant. Please follow me." Jennifer led her down a hallway with big windows that looked out over the city. Sarah could see the whole city from up here. It was beautiful. They stopped at a large door. Jennifer knocked once, then opened it. "Ms. Martinez is here," she said. Daniel Chen stood up from behind a big wooden desk. He was younger than Sarah expected, maybe 40 years old. He wore a nice suit, but his tie was loose like he had been working hard. "Sarah," he said, walking around the desk to shake her hand. "Thank you so much for coming. Please sit down. Can I get you some coffee? Tea?" "Coffee would be nice," Sarah said. Her voice was quiet. She still felt out of place in this fancy office. Daniel poured coffee from a pot on a table by the window. He handed her a cup and sat down in a chair across from her, not behind his big desk. Like they were equals. "Sarah, I want to start by saying something important. You don't owe me anything. Not your time, not your help, nothing. What I'm about to tell you is information I gathered because I was curious and because I care about what happened to you. But what you do with this information is completely up to you. Do you understand?" Sarah nodded. She liked that he talked to her this way. Like she was smart. Like her opinion mattered. Good. "So, I had my team do some research on Elegance Boutique yesterday evening. We made phone calls. We looked at public records. We even sent someone to the store pretending to be a customer. What we found was disturbing." Daniel pulled out a folder and opened it. "This store has a history of turning away customers who don't look wealthy. We found 3 other women who had similar experiences to yours. One woman was a doctor. She had just finished a long shift at the hospital and was still wearing her scrubs. They told her to leave. Another woman was a teacher. She had her students' homework papers in her bag. They said she was not their kind of customer." Sarah felt her anger rising. "They did this to other people too?" "Yes, and there's more. We talked to former employees. People who used to work at that store. They said the manager, Victoria Chen, trained them to judge customers based on appearance. She called it protecting the brand. She said they should only spend time with customers who looked like they could afford to shop there." "That's terrible," Sarah whispered. "It is. It's also probably illegal. Discrimination based on appearance, especially if it targets certain groups of people, can break laws." "But that's not all we discovered." Daniel pulled out more papers. "The boutique is in trouble. Big financial trouble. They're losing money. Their rent is very high and they don't have enough customers. The building owner wants to sell the property. Elegance is looking for someone to invest in their business to keep them open." Sarah looked at the papers. She could see numbers and charts, but she did not really understand them. "Why are you telling me all this?" she asked. Daniel leaned forward. "Because you have options now, Sarah. You have money. Real money. You could do a lot of things with that money. You could travel. You could buy a house. You could retire and never work another day in your life." He paused. "Or you could do something different. Something that might help not just you, but other people like you. People who have been judged and dismissed because of how they look." Sarah's heart started beating faster. "What do you mean? That building where Elegance is located? It's for sale. The price is high, but it's not impossible. And the boutique itself? They're desperate for an investor. Someone could buy that business for much less than it's really worth." Sarah understood now. She understood what Daniel was suggesting. "You think I should buy it? The store that kicked me out? I think you could buy it if you wanted to. But more importantly, you could change it. You could make it into something better. Something that treats all customers with respect. Something that helps people instead of hurting them." Sarah sat back in her chair. Her mind was racing. Could she really do this? Buy a whole store? She was just a janitor. She had never owned anything bigger than a car. "I don't know anything about running a store," she said. "You could learn, and you could hire people who do know. Sarah, I'm not trying to pressure you. This is a big decision. But I want you to know that it's possible. If you want to do this, I can help you. My company can provide advisors, legal help, financial planning, whatever you need. Why would you do all this for me?" Sarah asked. Daniel smiled. Because you were kind to me when I needed kindness. Because what happened to you was wrong. And because I think you could do something really special with this opportunity. I've been in business for 20 years, Sarah. I can recognize potential when I see it. And I see it in you. Sarah looked out the window at the city below. Somewhere down there was the boutique. Victoria Chen was probably there right now, being rude to more customers. Judging more people. Making more people feel small and worthless. Can I think about it? Sarah asked, of course. Take all the time you need. But while you're thinking, I want you to meet someone. Daniel picked up his phone and sent a text. A minute later, there was a knock on the door. A woman walked in. She was older than Sarah, maybe 60 years old. She wore a business suit and had kind eyes. Sarah, this is Margaret Holmes. She's a business consultant. She helps people start and run companies. Margaret, this is Sarah Martinez. Margaret shook Sarah's hand warmly. It's wonderful to meet you, Sarah. Daniel told me about what happened to you. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Sarah said. Margaret sat down next to Sarah. I want to tell you something about myself. 20 years ago, I was a secretary. I made very little money. I wore cheap clothes to work because I couldn't afford anything nice. One day, my boss took me to a business lunch at a fancy restaurant. The waiter looked at me like I didn't belong there. He was rude to me the whole meal. It was humiliating, Sarah nodded. She understood that feeling. That experience changed me. It made me angry, but it also made me determined. I went back to school at night. I learned about business. I worked my way up. Now I help other people build businesses, especially women. Especially women who have been told they don't belong. Margaret looked Sarah in the eyes. If you decide to do this, if you decide to buy that boutique and change it, I want to help you. Not because I feel sorry for you, but because I think you can do something important. Something that matters. Sarah felt tears in her eyes, but she was not sad. She was overwhelmed. Yesterday, she had been thrown out of a store. Today, people were offering to help her buy that store. Thank you, Sarah said. Both of you. I need some time to think about all of this. It's a lot to take in. Of course, Daniel said. Take all the time you need. Here's my private number. Sarah called Daniel Chen at 7 in the morning. She could not wait any longer. Daniel, it's Sarah Martinez. I'm sorry to call so early. Sarah, don't apologize. I'm already at work. What can I do for you? Sarah took a deep breath. I want to do it. I want to buy the boutique. I want to change it into something better. There was a pause on the phone. Then Daniel said, Are you sure? This is a big decision. You don't have to rush, I'm sure. I've been thinking about it all night. I keep thinking about those other women who were treated badly. I keep thinking that if I don't do something, nothing will change. More people will be hurt. Okay, Daniel said. His voice was warm. Then let's do this. But let's do it right. We need to be smart about this. Can you come to my office again today? I'll have Margaret there too. We'll make a plan. 3 hours later, Sarah was back in Daniel's office. This time, Margaret was already there, along with 2 other people. A man in glasses who Daniel introduced as Robert, a lawyer, and a young woman named Lisa, who was a financial advisor. Sarah, before we do anything, we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with, Daniel said. That means more research. We need to know everything about this boutique. The good, the bad, and the ugly. For the next 3 days, Sarah met with this team every day. They became like teachers, explaining everything to her in simple words. Robert, the lawyer, explained about discrimination laws. What they did to you might be illegal, but proving it in court is hard. It's better to take control of the situation in a different way, by buying the business. Lisa, the financial advisor, showed Sarah numbers, big numbers that made Sarah's head spin. Your $2.3 million sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But buying a building and a business costs a lot too. We need to be careful with every dollar. Margaret taught Sarah about retail business, about how stores work, about customers and employees and profit margins. Right now, Elegance makes money by selling expensive things to rich people, Margaret explained. But there aren't enough rich people shopping there. The store is failing because they made their customer base too small. They pushed away anyone who didn't look perfect. Bad business and bad morals. Sarah listened to everything. She took notes in a little notebook. She asked questions when she didn't understand something. At night, she went home and studied more. Emma came over every evening to help her. Mom, I'm so proud of you. You're learning so fast. I have to learn fast, Sarah said. I'm going up against people who have been doing this for years. I can't make mistakes. On the fourth day, Daniel's team presented their full report. They all sat around a big table in a conference room. Okay, here's what we know, Daniel said, opening a thick folder. The building that houses Elegance is owned by a real estate company called Prestige Properties. They want to sell it for $8 million. Sarah's eyes got wide. $8 million was much more than she had. Don't worry, Lisa said quickly. You don't need to buy the building right away. You can lease it, or we can look for investors to help you buy it later. The boutique itself is a different story, Robert said. The business is owned by Victoria Chen and two silent partners. They started the store 5 years ago. For the first 3 years, they did well. But for the last 2 years, they've been losing money, a lot of money. Margaret pointed to some numbers on a paper. They're losing about $50,000 every month. They have enough money to last maybe 6 more months. Then they'll have to close. So they're desperate, Sarah said slowly. Very desperate, Margaret agreed. Which means they might accept a low offer to buy the business. Especially if that offer comes with certain conditions. What kind of conditions? Sarah asked. That's something we need to talk about, Daniel said. Sarah, what do you want to do with this store if you buy it? Do you want to keep it the same? Change it completely? What's your vision? Sarah had been thinking about this question for days. I want to change it. I want it to be a place where everyone feels welcome. Not just rich people, everyone. I want the staff to treat customers with respect no matter what they're wearing or how they look. That's a good start, Margaret said. But we need to think bigger. How will you make money? A business needs to make a profit to survive. Sarah thought about this. Maybe we can sell different things? Not just super expensive designer bags. Maybe we can have some less expensive items too. Good, Margaret said, making notes. What else? I want to do something to help other people. People like me. Maybe we could have a program that gives nice clothes to women who are looking for jobs but can't afford professional clothes. Daniel smiled. I like that idea a lot. What else? Sarah's face got excited. What about a scholarship? For kids whose parents work in service jobs, janitors, waiters, cleaners, kids like Emma who need help paying for school. Excellent, Robert said. That could also give you tax benefits. If you set up the store as a social enterprise, you can get certain tax advantages. For the next 2 hours, they worked on a detailed plan. Sarah was amazed at how much there was to think about. Inventory, staff training, marketing, budgets, rent, insurance, legal permits. This is so much, Sarah said, feeling overwhelmed. How will I ever learn all of this? You don't have to learn it all at once, Margaret said kindly. You hire good people to help you. You learn as you go. And you remember why you're doing this. There's something else we need to investigate, Daniel said. Victoria Chen herself. We need to understand who we're dealing with. Over the next few days, the team dug deeper into Victoria Chen's background. What they found was interesting. Victoria had grown up poor, just like Sarah. She had worked her way up in the fashion industry, starting as a sales clerk. She had faced discrimination herself when she was younger. People had looked down on her because of her background. So she knows what it feels like, Sarah said quietly. She knows what it's like to be judged. Which makes what she's doing even worse, Emma said. Sarah had invited her daughter to this meeting. She experienced that pain and then she turned around and did the same thing to other people. People sometimes become what they hate, Margaret said sadly. Victoria probably thought that being harsh and exclusive would make her store seem more high-end, more prestigious. But all it did was make her cruel. The team also discovered that Victoria's 2 business partners wanted out. They had invested money in the store, but they were tired of losing money every month. They wanted to sell their shares and walk away. This is good for us, Robert said. If the partners want to sell, they'll put pressure on Victoria to accept an offer. She can't run the store alone. How much money do you think they'll want? Sarah asked. Lisa looked at her spreadsheets. The business is losing money, so it's not worth much. Maybe $300,000? Maybe less. It depends on how desperate they are. Sarah did some quick math in her head. $300,000 for the business, plus money for inventory, plus money to renovate the store, plus money to pay employees while she made changes, plus money to live on while she learned the business. I'll have enough money, she said. If I'm careful. You'll have enough, Daniel agreed. Especially if you're smart about it. And Sarah, I want to invest in your new business. Not charity, a real investment. I think what you're doing could be successful. I want to be part of it. Sarah looked at him with surprise. You want to invest in me? I want to invest in your vision, Daniel said. In what you're trying to build. This could be bigger than just one store, Sarah. This could be a model for how retail businesses should treat people. Over the next week, the team continued their research. They visited other boutiques to see how they operated. They talked to retail experts. They studied customer service training programs. Sarah spent hours in the public library, reading books about business and management. She watched videos online about how to run a store. She was like a student again, soaking up information. One afternoon, Margaret took Sarah to visit 3 other stores that had successfully changed from exclusive to inclusive. The first store was called Everybody's Closet. It sold both designer clothes and affordable brands in the same space, like the key is mixing high and low, the owner explained. A customer might buy a $200 designer scarf and a $30 t-shirt in the same visit. Everyone finds something they can afford. The second store was called Second Chances. They sold gently used designer clothes at low prices, and part of the profit went to job training programs. We call it fashion with purpose, the owner said. Customers feel good about shopping here because they know they're helping people. The third store was called Dignity Boutique. They had a special program where women in need could shop for free with a referral from a social worker. We treat every customer like they're buying something, the owner explained. Even the women shopping for free. We give them the same attention, the same respect, because everyone deserves dignity. Sarah took notes on everything. She asked a million questions. She was learning so much. That evening, she sat with Emma at her small kitchen table. Sarah's notebook was filled with ideas and plans. Mom, you've changed, Emma said softly. What do you mean? You're different. More confident. You're not apologizing for taking up space anymore. You're not making yourself small. Sarah thought about this. Emma was right. Something had changed inside her. Getting kicked out of that boutique had hurt. But it had also awakened something, a strength she didn't know she had. I'm tired of being invisible, Sarah said. I'm tired of people like Victoria Chen thinking they're better than me. I want to show them that everyone matters. Everyone deserves respect. You will, Mom. I know you will. 2 weeks after that terrible day at the boutique, Sarah felt ready. She had learned so much. She had a team of people helping her. She had a plan. She had money. She had a vision. Most importantly, she had courage. The courage to try something big. The courage to face Victoria Chen again. The courage to believe in herself. Okay, Sarah said to Daniel on the phone. I'm ready. Let's make an offer. Daniel's voice was warm with pride. Let's do it, Sarah. Let's change everything. The next day, Robert the lawyer sent a formal letter to Victoria Chen and her business partners. The letter said that an anonymous investor was interested in buying Elegance Boutique. The investor was willing to pay $300,000, but only if Victoria agreed to meet in person to discuss the terms. The letter said nothing about who the investor was. Victoria had no idea that the woman she had thrown out of her store was about to become her boss. 3 days later, Victoria's lawyer responded. She accepted the meeting. She would come to discuss the sale. Sarah smiled when she heard the news. The meeting was scheduled for next Monday at 10 in the morning. In Daniel Chen's office, the same office where Sarah had learned about her $2.3 million, everything was coming full circle. Sarah spent the weekend preparing. She practiced what she would say. She bought a new suit with Margaret's help. A beautiful navy blue suit that made her look professional and powerful. On Sunday night, Sarah couldn't sleep. Tomorrow she would face Victoria Chen again. But this time everything would be different. This time Sarah would be the one in control. Monday morning arrived. Sarah woke up at 5 o'clock. Even though the meeting was not until 10, she could not sleep anymore. Her heart was racing with excitement and fear. She took a long shower and washed her hair carefully. She dried it and let it fall in soft waves around her shoulders. Then she put on makeup. Not too much, just enough to look professional. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. The navy blue suit fit perfectly. Margaret had helped her pick it out. It was expensive, more than Sarah had ever spent on clothes before, but it was worth it. She looked like someone who belonged in a boardroom. She looked like someone important. Emma came over at 7 to help her get ready. She brought coffee and bagels. "Mom, you look amazing," Emma said, her eyes getting wet with tears. "Don't cry, sweetheart. You'll make me cry too, and I can't mess up my makeup." They sat together and drank coffee. Emma held her mother's hand. "Are you nervous?" Emma asked. Terrified, Sarah admitted. "What if I say something stupid? What if she laughs at me? Mom, you know this business plan inside and out. You've studied for 2 weeks straight. You've talked to experts. You've visited other stores. You know what you're doing. And even if Victoria Chen laughs, so what? You have something she doesn't have. You have money, you have a team, and you have a good heart." Sarah squeezed her daughter's hand. "Thank you, baby. I don't know what I'd do without you." At 9 o'clock, Sarah took a taxi to Daniel's office building. She did not want to take the bus today. Today she needed to feel strong and confident. When she walked into the lobby, the same young man from before smiled at her. "Good morning, Ms. Martinez. Mr. Chen is expecting you. You can go right up." Jennifer, Daniel's assistant, was waiting by the elevator on the top floor. "Sarah, you look wonderful. Mr. Chen is in the conference room. Everyone is already there." Sarah followed Jennifer down the hallway. Her high heels clicked on the floor. She had practiced walking in these shoes all weekend. She did not want to trip or stumble. The conference room was large with a big wooden table. Windows covered one wall, showing the city below. Daniel was there, along with Robert the lawyer, Lisa the financial advisor, and Margaret. They all stood up when Sarah entered. "Sarah, you look fantastic," Margaret said with a warm smile. "Are you ready for this?" Daniel asked quietly. "As ready as I'll ever be," Sarah said. They all sat down around the table. Sarah sat at the head of the table. Daniel had insisted on this. "You're the buyer. You're in charge today," he had told her. At exactly 10 o'clock, Jennifer knocked on the door. "Ms. Chen is here. Send her in," Daniel said. The door opened. Victoria Chen walked in, wearing a gray designer suit and high heels. Her hair was pulled back in a tight bun. She carried an expensive leather briefcase. She looked confident and professional. She walked into the room and started to smile at Daniel. Then her eyes moved to the head of the table. She saw Sarah sitting there in her navy suit. Victoria's face went completely white. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. Her briefcase slipped from her hand and fell to the floor with a loud thud. "Hello, Victoria," Sarah said calmly. "Thank you for coming to our meeting today." Victoria just stared. She looked like she had seen a ghost. She looked from Sarah to Daniel, then back to Sarah again. I don't understand," Victoria finally said. Her voice was shaking. "Please sit down," Sarah said, pointing to a chair on the other side of the table. "We have a lot to discuss." Victoria sat down slowly, like her legs might give out. She kept staring at Sarah. "You're the investor?" Victoria asked. "You're the one who wants to buy my store?" "That's right," Sarah said. She was surprised at how steady her voice sounded. Inside, her heart was pounding. But outside, she looked calm and professional. "But you're just a janitor?" Sarah finished for her. "Yes, I am, or I was. But I'm also a businesswoman now. And I'm the person who is offering to buy your boutique." Victoria's face changed from shock to anger. "This is a joke. Some kind of revenge. You can't possibly have enough money to buy my store." Robert the lawyer slid a folder across the table to Victoria. "Inside this folder, you'll find proof of Ms. Martinez's assets. She is fully qualified to make this purchase." Victoria opened the folder with shaking hands. She looked at the papers inside. Her face went even paler. "I don't believe this," she whispered. "Believe it," Sarah said. "Now let's talk about business. Your store is losing $50,000 every month. Your business partners want to sell. You're 6 months away from bankruptcy. I'm offering you $300,000 for the business. That's more than fair considering your situation." Victoria's hands clenched into fists. "You can't do this. You can't just walk in here and take everything I've built." "I'm not taking anything," Sarah said. "I'm offering to buy your failing business. You can either accept my offer, or you can wait 6 months and lose everything when you go bankrupt. The choice is yours." Victoria stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I won't sell to you. Not to someone like you. You don't belong in the fashion world. You don't understand luxury. You don't know anything about running a high-end boutique." Sarah stood up too. She looked Victoria straight in the eye. "You're right. I don't know much about running a boutique. Not yet, but I know something more important. I know how to treat people with respect. I know that every customer deserves dignity. whether they're wearing designer clothes or jeans and a sweater. That's not how luxury retail works, Victoria said. You have to maintain certain standards. You have to protect your brand. By throwing out customers who want to buy things? Sarah asked. By judging people based on their clothes? That's not protecting a brand, Victoria. That's just being cruel. Margaret stood up and spoke for the first time. Ms. Chen, I'm a business consultant. I've worked in retail for 30 years. I can tell you that your business model is outdated and discriminatory. Luxury brands around the world are becoming more inclusive. They're learning that respect and customer service sell more products than snobbery ever did. Victoria sat back down. She looked tired suddenly, defeated. What do you want from me? She asked quietly. Sarah sat down too. I want to buy your business, but I'm giving you a choice. You can sell to me and walk away. You'll have $300,000 to start fresh somewhere else. Or you can stay on as the manager, working for me. But if you stay, everything changes. Victoria looked up sharply. You'd let me stay? After everything? If you're willing to change. If you're willing to learn a new way of doing business. A better way. And if I stay, what changes? Victoria asked. Sarah pulled out her own folder. She had prepared for this moment. First, we retrain all staff on inclusive customer service. Everyone who walks through that door gets treated with respect. No more judging customers by their appearance. She pulled out another paper. Second, we change our product mix. We'll still carry luxury designer items, but we'll also carry more affordable pieces. We'll have something for different budgets, another paper. Third, we start a community program. Women who are looking for jobs but can't afford professional clothes can come to us. We'll help them find appropriate outfits. For free. Victoria's eyebrows went up. Give away clothes for free? How will we make money? We'll make money by having more customers, Margaret explained. By building a reputation as a store that cares about people. By creating loyalty. Studies show that businesses with strong social missions often do better financially than those without. Sarah pulled out one more paper. And fourth, we start a scholarship fund for children of service workers. We'll use part of our profits to help kids like my daughter go to college. Victoria was quiet for a long time. She looked at the papers. She looked at Sarah. She looked out the window at the city below. Why would you do all this? She finally asked. Why not just get your revenge and watch me fail? Sarah's voice was gentle now. Because I know what it feels like to be invisible. To be judged. To be told you don't belong. I don't want anyone else to feel that way. Not in my store, not anywhere, she paused. Daniel told me about your background, Victoria. You grew up poor. You worked your way up. You faced discrimination yourself. You know what it's like. So why did you do the same thing to me? To other women like me? Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Because I thought I had to. I thought that's what it meant to run a luxury store. I thought being exclusive meant being better. I was wrong, she wiped her eyes. The truth is, I became exactly what I hated when I was younger. The people who looked down on me because I was poor. I told myself I was different, that I had made something of myself. But I was just as bad as they were. Maybe worse because I should have known better. Sarah felt something unexpected. Sympathy. Victoria Chen had hurt her, but Victoria was also a person who had lost her way. So what will it be? Sarah asked. Do you want to sell and leave? Or do you want to stay and help me build something better? Victoria looked at Sarah for a long moment. If I stay, will you really give me a chance? Even after what I did to you? Yes, but you have to mean it. You have to really change. No more looking down on people. No more judging customers. Everyone gets treated with kindness and respect. Can you do that? Victoria nodded slowly. I can try. I want to try. I'm tired of being the person I've become. Maybe this is my chance to be better. Then it's settled, Sarah said. She stood up and held out her hand. Welcome to the new elegance, Victoria. We're going to do things differently now. Victoria stood up and shook Sarah's hand. Her grip was firm. Thank you, she whispered. I don't deserve this chance, but thank you for giving it to me. Robert pulled out contracts. We have paperwork to sign. Ms. Martinez will own the business. Ms. Chen, if you're staying on as manager, we have an employment contract for you as well. For the next hour, they went through all the legal documents. Sarah signed her name over and over. Each signature felt powerful. She was really doing this. She was really buying a business. When all the papers were signed, Daniel opened a bottle of champagne that Jennifer had brought in. To new beginnings, he said, raising his glass. To treating people with dignity, Margaret added. To second chances, Victoria said quietly. To change, Sarah said. To making the world a little bit better, one store at a time. They all drank. Sarah tasted the champagne and smiled. It was sweet and bubbly. It tasted like victory, like hope, like the beginning of something wonderful. After Victoria left, Sarah collapsed into her chair. Her whole body was shaking. I can't believe I just did that, she said. You were amazing, Emma said. She had been waiting outside and came in as soon as Victoria left. She hugged her mother tight. This is just the beginning, Daniel said. Now comes the real work, transforming that store into your vision. I'm ready, Sarah said, and she meant it. She was ready for whatever came next, because she wasn't just a janitor anymore. She wasn't just a mother. She wasn't just a woman who had been thrown out of a boutique. She was Sarah Martinez, business owner, and she was going to change everything. The first day Sarah walked into Elegance as the owner was both exciting and terrifying. It was exactly 3 weeks after Victoria had thrown her out. 3 weeks that had changed everything. Sarah wore a simple black dress and comfortable shoes. Margaret had advised her to dress professionally but not too fancy. You want the staff to respect you but also to feel like they can talk to you, Margaret had said. Victoria was already there when Sarah arrived at 9 in the morning. She looked nervous. Good morning, Sarah, Victoria said. It was strange hearing her say Sarah's name with respect. Good morning. Is the staff all here? Yes, everyone is in the back room. They're worried. They don't know what's happening. There have been rumors that the store was sold. Then let's talk to them, Sarah said. They walked to the back room together. 8 women stood there, all wearing black dresses like Victoria. They all looked scared. Sarah recognized 2 of them from the day she had been thrown out. Good morning, everyone, Sarah said. Her voice was shaking a little, but she pushed through it. My name is Sarah Martinez. I'm the new owner of Elegance. The women looked shocked. They whispered to each other. I know this is surprising. I know you have questions. But first, I want to tell you something important. Your jobs are safe. I'm not firing anyone. Not today. Not this week. You all have a chance to be part of what we're building here. The staff looked relieved. One woman raised her hand. What are you building, Ms. Martinez? Please call me Sarah, and I'm building a store that treats every customer with respect. A store where people feel welcome, no matter what they're wearing or how they look. Sarah saw some of the staff exchange glances. They knew what she was talking about. I know some of you were trained to judge customers by their appearance, to spend more time with people who looked wealthy. That changes today. From now on, every person who walks through that door gets treated the same, with kindness, with attention, with dignity. One of the younger women spoke up. But Ms. Martinez, I mean Sarah, what if someone comes in who clearly can't afford anything? Won't we be wasting time? Sarah looked at her. What's your name? Kelly. Kelly, 3 weeks ago I came into this store wearing jeans and a sweater. I had $2,000 in my purse. I wanted to buy a gift for my daughter, but I never got the chance to show anyone my money. I was thrown out before I could even try to buy something. Was that good business? Kelly's face turned red. No, ma'am. Exactly. We lost a sale that day, but more than that, we hurt someone. We made someone feel worthless. That's not who we're going to be anymore. Sarah spent the next hour explaining her vision. She told them about the changes that were coming. Different price ranges. The community program for women who needed professional clothes. The scholarship fund. The new training everyone would go through. This is going to be hard work, Sarah said. Change is always hard. Some of you might decide this isn't the right place for you anymore, and that's okay. But if you stay, I promise I will treat you with respect. I will pay you fairly. I will listen to your ideas. And together, we will build something special. After the meeting, Victoria pulled Sarah aside. That was good. You were clear and honest. The staff responded well. Thank you. Now I need to see the inventory. I need to understand what we have and what we need. For the next 3 days, Sarah worked 16 hours a day at the store. She went through every item in inventory. She looked at sales records from the past 2 years. She talked to each staff member individually to understand their strengths and concerns. What she found was disturbing. The store had been losing money not just because they were turning away customers. They were also buying the wrong inventory. Victoria had been ordering extremely expensive items that almost never sold. They sat in the back room for months tying up money. "We need to change our ordering," Sarah told Victoria. "We're going to buy smarter. Some high-end pieces, yes, but also more affordable items that will actually sell." Victoria nodded. "You're right. I was trying too hard to be exclusive. I thought the more expensive everything was, the more prestigious we would seem." Margaret came in every day to help. She taught Sarah about profit margins and inventory turnover and customer flow. She helped Sarah understand which products made money and which ones didn't. "Retail is about turnover," Margaret explained. "It's better to sell 100 items at a small profit than to sell one item at a huge profit, because that one expensive item might never sell at all." Lisa, the financial advisor, helped Sarah create a budget. "You have enough money to keep the store running for 6 months while you make changes. But after that, you need to be profitable. Otherwise, you'll run out of money." The pressure was enormous. Sarah felt it every day. But she also felt excited. She was learning so much. And she had a purpose, a mission. 2 weeks after buying the store, Sarah brought in a customer service trainer. Her name was Patricia, and she had worked with many major retailers. Patricia spent 3 full days training the staff. She taught them how to greet every customer warmly, how to listen to what customers wanted, how to make suggestions without being pushy, how to handle difficult situations with grace. "The goal is to make every customer feel valued," Patricia explained, "whether they buy something or not. Because even if they don't buy today, they'll remember how you made them feel, and they'll come back." Sarah participated in every training session. She wanted the staff to see that she was learning too, that they were all in this together. One afternoon during training, Patricia set up a role play. "Okay, let's practice. Sarah, you play a customer. You come in wearing casual clothes. Kelly, you greet her. Show me what you've learned." Sarah walked out of the room and then came back in, pretending to be a new customer. Kelly greeted her with a warm smile. "Good afternoon. Welcome to Elegance. How can I help you today?" "I'm looking for a gift for my daughter," Sarah said. "Wonderful. What's the occasion?" "She's graduating from law school." "How exciting." "Congratulations to her. Do you have a budget in mind?" Sarah smiled. This was exactly right. Kelly had asked about the budget without being rude. She had made conversation without judging. "I'd like to spend around $2,000, Sarah said. "Perfect. Let me show you some beautiful options." After the role play, Patricia smiled. "Excellent work, Kelly. You made the customer feel welcome. You asked the right questions. You focused on her needs, not on what she was wearing." Kelly beamed with pride. Sarah could see the change happening. The staff was learning. They were getting better, but not everything was smooth. 2 of the staff members quit in the first week. They didn't like the new direction. They missed the old way of doing things. "Let them go," Margaret advised. "You need people who believe in your vision. You can't force everyone to change." Sarah hired 2 new staff members to replace them. One was a woman named Rosa, who had worked in retail for 20 years but had been laid off when her store closed. The other was a young man named James, who was the first male employee Elegance had ever hired. "Men shop here too," Sarah said when Victoria questioned the hire. "We should have someone on staff who understands male customers." James turned out to be wonderful. He was friendly and enthusiastic. Customers loved him. The next big change was the inventory. Sarah and Victoria worked together to bring in new products. They kept some of the high-end designer pieces, but they also brought in smaller designers and more affordable luxury items. Sarah discovered a local designer who made beautiful handbags from sustainable materials. The bags were well made and stylish, but cost a fraction of the designer bags. Sarah ordered 50 of them. "These are perfect," Sarah said. "Good quality, reasonable price, and they support a local business." They also added a section for professional wear, suits and blouses and shoes that working women could afford. Items in the $500 to $1,000 range instead of $5,000. Victoria was skeptical at first. "This isn't what Elegance is known for," she said. "Elegance isn't known for anything good right now," Sarah said gently. "It's known for being unwelcoming. Let's give it a new reputation." While they were changing the inventory, Sarah also worked on the community program. She partnered with 3 local organizations that helped women get back into the workforce. Women who were homeless or escaping domestic violence or getting out of prison. "These women need professional clothes for job interviews," Sarah explained to the staff. "We're going to provide them. They'll come here and we'll help them find appropriate outfits. For free? How will we afford that? One staff member asked. We'll accept donations of gently used professional clothes. We'll also set aside some of our inventory that doesn't sell, and we'll budget for it as part of our community service. The staff was nervous about this program. What if other customers don't like seeing homeless women in the store? Someone asked. Sarah's voice was firm. Then we'll educate those customers. Everyone is welcome here. Everyone. That's not negotiable. The first woman came in through the community program 2 weeks later. Her name was Teresa. She was 40 years old and had been homeless for 3 years. Now she had a job interview at an accounting firm. I don't know what to wear, Teresa said quietly. She looked scared. Rosa took her hand gently. We're going to help you. Let's find you something perfect. Sarah watched Rosa help Teresa try on different suits. Rosa was patient and kind. She treated Teresa exactly like she would treat any paying customer. She brought her different options. She gave her honest feedback. Finally, Teresa found a navy suit that fit perfectly. Rosa added a white blouse and simple black shoes. Teresa looked at herself in the mirror and started crying. I look professional. I look like I belong in an office. You do belong, Sarah said softly. You're going to do great at that interview. Teresa hugged Sarah tight. Thank you. Thank you so much. After Teresa left carrying her new suit and an elegant shopping bag, Rosa had tears in her eyes. That felt good, Rosa said. Really good. Better than any sale I've ever made. That's because it mattered, Sarah said. We changed someone's life today. Word spread about the community program. More women started coming in. The staff became more comfortable with it. They started to understand what Sarah was trying to do. Regular customers started noticing the changes too. Some loved it. They appreciated the new inventory and the welcoming atmosphere. They told their friends, but some customers complained. They missed the old exclusivity. They didn't like seeing different kinds of people in the store. One day, a wealthy woman who had been shopping at Elegance for years came in and demanded to speak to the owner. This store has changed, she said to Sarah. It's not special anymore. Anyone can shop here now. That's right, Sarah said calmly. Anyone can shop here, including you. Has the quality of our products decreased? Well, no, but has our customer service gotten worse? No, but it's not the same. It used to feel exclusive, elite. Sarah looked the woman in the eye. You can still buy beautiful things here. The only difference is that we treat everyone with respect now. If that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. But that's not going to change, the woman left in a huff. She never came back. Sarah felt a moment of sadness, but also pride. She was sticking to her values. Not all the old customers left. Many stayed. And many new customers started coming in. Customers who had walked past the store for years but never dared to enter. Now they felt welcome. Sales started to increase, slowly at first, then faster. The new inventory was selling well. The professional wear section was especially popular. 6 weeks after Sarah took over, they had their first profitable week. Sarah celebrated with the whole staff. She brought in pizza and soda. We did it, she said, raising a paper cup. We proved that you can be profitable and kind at the same time. The staff cheered. Even Victoria was smiling. A real smile this time. Not the fake one Sarah had seen on that terrible first day. I never thought this would work, Victoria admitted. But you were right, Sarah, about all of it. Sarah looked around at her staff, at her store, at everything they had built together in just 6 weeks. They still had a long way to go. But they were moving in the right direction. And that was enough for now. 3 months after Sarah bought Elegance, she stood outside the store looking at the new sign. The name was still the same, but underneath it now read, Where Everyone Belongs. Emma stood next to her holding her hand. Mom, are you ready for this? Today was the grand reopening. Sarah had closed the store for 1 week to renovate. They had painted the walls a warm cream color instead of stark white. They had added comfortable chairs where customers could sit. They had created a community corner with information about the scholarship program and the free clothing service. The local newspaper was coming to do a story. A reporter and photographer were already waiting inside. Sarah had been nervous about the publicity, but Margaret convinced her it was important. People need to know about what you're doing, Margaret had said. Your story will inspire others. Sarah took a deep breath and walked through the door with Emma. The staff was already there, all wearing the new uniforms. Instead of formal black dresses, they now wore elegant but comfortable clothes in different styles. Sarah wanted customers to see themselves reflected in the staff. The reporter, a woman named Jennifer, smiled warmly when she saw Sarah. "Ms. Martinez, thank you for agreeing to this interview. Your story is remarkable." For the next hour, Jennifer asked Sarah questions about being thrown out of the store, about discovering she was a millionaire, about buying the boutique and transforming it. "What made you decide to change the store instead of just getting revenge?" Jennifer asked. Sarah thought carefully before answering. "Revenge would have felt good for a day, maybe a week, but helping people feels good every single day. I didn't want to destroy something. I wanted to build something better." "And what about Victoria Chen, the woman who threw you out? She still works here, is that right?" "Yes, Victoria made a mistake. A bad mistake. But she was willing to learn and change. I believe in second chances. Everyone deserves the opportunity to become better." Jennifer interviewed several staff members too. Kelly, who had been so nervous at first, talked about how the training changed her perspective. "I used to think expensive meant exclusive," Kelly said. "Now I understand that true luxury is how you make people feel." Rosa talked about helping women through the community program. "Every time I help someone find an outfit for a job interview, I remember why I got into retail in the first place, to help people feel confident and beautiful." Even Victoria agreed to be interviewed. "I'm not proud of who I was," Victoria said honestly. "I let my own insecurities make me cruel. But Sarah gave me a chance to be different, to be better. I'm grateful for that every day." The photographer took pictures of the store, of the staff, of Sarah standing in front of the new sign. Sarah felt uncomfortable at first being the center of attention, but Emma squeezed her hand and whispered, "You deserve this, Mom. Be proud." At 11 o'clock, they opened the doors for the grand reopening. Sarah had been worried that nobody would come, but there was a line of people waiting outside. The first person through the door was Teresa, the woman who had gotten the free interview suit. She was wearing that same suit now. "I got the job," Teresa said, hugging Sarah. "I start next week, and I came to buy something to celebrate, with my own money this time." Sarah felt tears in her eyes. "I'm so proud of you, Teresa." More people came in, old customers and new ones, people who had read about the store online, people who were curious about the changes. One woman, about Sarah's age, walked in wearing jeans and a sweater. She looked nervous. Sarah recognized that look immediately. Sarah walked over to her with a warm smile. "Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome to Elegance. Is this your first time visiting us?" The woman nodded. "I've walked past this store for 5 years, but I never came in before. I didn't think I belonged here." "You absolutely belong here," Sarah said. "Everyone does. Can I help you find something?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. "You're her. You're the owner. I read about you in the article online about what happened to you." "That's me," Sarah said gently. "Thank you," the woman whispered. "Thank you for making a place where people like us can shop without feeling judged." Sarah spent the next hour helping that woman find a beautiful dress for her anniversary dinner with her husband. When the woman left with her purchase, she looked so happy. The grand reopening was a huge success. The store was busy all day. They sold more in one day than they usually sold in a week. At 6 o'clock, when they finally closed the doors, the staff was exhausted but happy. Sarah gathered everyone together. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for believing in this vision. Thank you for working so hard. Thank you for treating every customer with kindness today. You all made me so proud." James spoke up. "Sarah, we should be thanking you. You gave us a chance to be part of something that matters. This isn't just a job anymore. It's a mission." Everyone agreed. Even Victoria had tears in her eyes. The next day, the newspaper article came out. The headline read, "From Janitor to CEO, One Woman's Journey to Transform Luxury Retail." The article told Sarah's whole story. About cleaning offices at night, about saving money for her daughter, about being thrown out of the boutique, about discovering she was a millionaire, about buying the store and changing everything. The article went viral online. People shared it thousands of times on social media. News websites picked it up. By the end of the week, Sarah's story was everywhere. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Other store owners called, wanting advice on how to make their businesses more inclusive. Women's organizations called, wanting to partner with her community program. Business schools called, wanting her to come speak to students. Sarah was overwhelmed. She had never expected this much attention. Daniel called her one evening. "Sarah, you've started something important here. People are paying attention. This could be bigger than just one store." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked. "What if you franchised the Elegance model? What if you helped other stores transform the way you did? You could change retail across the country." Sarah thought about this. It was exciting but also scary. She was still learning so much. Could she really teach others? "I don't know, Daniel. That sounds like a lot. Think about it. You don't have to decide now. But Sarah, you have something special here. Don't be afraid to dream big." 2 weeks after the grand reopening, Sarah launched the scholarship program. She had partnered with Emma's law school to create scholarships for children of service workers, janitors, housekeepers, waiters, delivery drivers, security guards. The first scholarship went to a young woman named Maria. Her mother cleaned houses for a living. Maria wanted to be a nurse but couldn't afford college. At the scholarship ceremony, Maria gave a speech. "My mother works so hard. She cleans houses from dawn until dark. People treat her like she's invisible, like she doesn't matter. But she matters. She matters so much. And now, because of Ms. Martinez, I have a chance to go to college. To make my mother proud. To show her that her hard work meant something." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Sarah hugged Maria and whispered, "Make sure your mother knows she's not invisible. She never was." The scholarship program grew quickly. Other businesses donated money. By the end of the year, they had given scholarships to 25 students. 6 months after the grand reopening, Elegance was thriving. They were profitable every single week. They had hired 3 more staff members. The community program had helped over 100 women get job interviews. 35 of them had gotten jobs. Sarah still worked long hours at the store, but she loved it. Every day brought something new. A customer who felt beautiful for the first time, a staff member who learned a new skill, a woman who got a job because of their help. One Saturday afternoon, a young woman came into the store with her mother. The daughter was maybe 25 years old, wearing a simple dress. The mother was wearing a housekeeping uniform. She had clearly come straight from work. The mother looked nervous. "I'm sorry, we probably can't afford anything here. But my daughter has a job interview on Monday and she needs something professional to wear." Rosa smiled warmly. "You came to the right place, let me help you." Sarah watched from across the store as Rosa worked with the mother and daughter. She showed them options in different price ranges. She was patient and kind, never making them feel bad about their budget. Finally, they found a perfect suit. It was on sale within their budget. The daughter looked at herself in the mirror and smiled so big. "I look professional," she said. "I look like I could really get this job." "You will get it," Rosa said confidently. "You're going to do great." As the mother paid for the suit, she had tears in her eyes. "Thank you for not making us feel bad for not having much money. So many stores are not kind to people like us." "Everyone is welcome here," Rosa said. "That's our promise." After they left, Rosa came over to Sarah. "Did you see that? That mother reminded me of you. Working hard, wanting the best for her daughter." "I saw," Sarah said softly. "That's why we do this. For families like that. For people who work hard but don't always get respect." That night, Sarah sat in her office at the store. It was late after closing. She was doing paperwork, something she never imagined she would be doing 6 months ago. Her phone rang. It was Emma. "Mom, turn on the TV, Channel 7 now." Sarah found the remote and turned on the small TV in her office. A business news show was on, and they were talking about her. "Sarah Martinez is changing the face of luxury retail," the host said. "Her store, Elegance, proves that profitability and social responsibility can work together. She's showing other businesses that treating people with dignity is not just good morals, it's good business. Sarah watched in amazement as they showed clips of her store, interviews with customers, statistics about their success. Martinez started as a janitor, the host continued, but she's ended up teaching business leaders important lessons about respect, inclusion, and community service. She's a model for the new generation of entrepreneurs. When the segment ended, Sarah just sat there. She thought about that day 6 months ago when she stood on the sidewalk crying. When she felt so small and worthless. She thought about how close she came to just going home and forgetting the whole thing. How she almost let Victoria Chen make her believe she didn't matter, but she hadn't given up. She had stood up for herself. She had taken a chance. She had dared to believe she could make a difference, and she had. She really had. Sarah looked around her office. At the pictures on the wall of the scholarship recipients. At the thank you cards from women who had gotten job interviews. At the profit statements that showed the store was succeeding. But more than any of that, she thought about the people she had helped. Teresa, who now had a job. Maria, who was going to college. The countless customers who walked into the store and felt welcome for the first time. That was what mattered. Not the money. Not the news coverage. Not even the success of the business. What mattered was that she had created a place where people felt valued. Where everyone truly belonged. The next morning, Sarah arrived at the store early as always. She wore comfortable jeans and a nice sweater. She had learned that she didn't need expensive clothes to be taken seriously. She just needed to be herself. As she unlocked the door, she looked up at the sign, Elegance, where everyone belongs. It was more than a sign. It was a promise. A promise she kept every single day. Victoria arrived a few minutes later. Their relationship had changed so much. They weren't exactly friends, but they were partners. They respected each other. "Good morning, Sarah," Victoria said. "Big day today. We have 3 women coming in from the community program. Perfect. Let's make sure they leave here feeling confident and ready to succeed." As the staff arrived and the store came to life, Sarah felt grateful. Grateful for Emma, who had always believed in her. Grateful for Daniel, who had given her a chance. Grateful for Margaret, who had taught her so much. Grateful for her staff, who had embraced the changes, but most of all, grateful for that terrible day when Victoria had thrown her out. Because that day had changed everything. It had shown her that she was stronger than she knew. That she deserved respect. That she could make a difference. At 9 o'clock, Sarah opened the doors. A new day, new customers, new opportunities to show people they mattered. A woman walked in looking nervous. She wore old jeans and a faded jacket. She looked around the beautiful store like she wasn't sure if she belonged. Sarah walked over with a warm smile. She knew exactly how that woman felt. She had been that woman not so long ago. "Good morning," Sarah said gently. "Welcome to Elegance. I'm Sarah, the owner. How can I help you today?" The woman's face relaxed. She smiled back. "Really? I can just look around? Even though I'm dressed like this?" "Of course. Everyone is welcome here. Everyone belongs. That's not just something we say. It's what we believe." As Sarah helped the woman browse through the store, she felt happy. Truly happy. Not because of her success or her money or her fame, but because she was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do. She was treating people the way everyone deserved to be treated. With kindness, with respect, with dignity, and in doing that, she had discovered something important. When you lift others up, you lift yourself up too. When you give people dignity, you find your own. When you create a place where everyone belongs, you finally find where you belong too. Sarah Martinez had started as a janitor who saved money to buy a gift for her daughter. She had been humiliated and thrown out of a store. But she had not let that break her. She had used that pain to create something beautiful, something that mattered. She had proven that one person really could make a difference. That kindness was stronger than cruelty, that everyone, no matter who they were or what they wore, deserved to be treated with respect. And that was the greatest success of all.